Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. Sorry about this video being late, but yes, I've been busy producing videos for the other channel. This is a Charioteer. It's a Tier 8 British turreted tank destroyer. It's located on the southwest spawn of Live Oaks, and this one is under the command of Beowulf 19K30. Game on! Well, you can see straight away that the gun barrel has got a fume extractor halfway along, and that means that this must be the 105mm, which is not the standard gun that the Charioteer was started with. It's capable of doing 390 alpha, penetrating 268mm of armour, and that's with the standard APCR. With the premium hesh rounds, you can do 480 alpha and penetrate 210mm. It's also a much higher velocity shell, so you've got much more chance of hitting the target if the target's moving quickly. Now, the Charioteer, otherwise known as Tank Medium Gun Charioteer, is also known as the FV4 Yeah, it's one of those designs that took place after the war. It was produced in the 50s. They were upgraded from Cromwell's, that's why they look so similar. It's got a much bigger turret to take the much bigger gun. In fact, they were initially issued with a 20-pounder gun, the 83.4mm gun, which is very capable of taking out Soviet tanks. Because, of course, you've got to remember that the Cromwell never actually carried the 17-pounder that was fitted to the Firefly, and that was capable of taking out Tigers. So a 20-pounder gun, yeah, that would have been pretty lethal to Tigers, but it was actually capable, or would have been effective, against the IS-3. Well, you can see enemy tanks are coming down the railway line, and it looks like Beowulf, oh no, he just got hit. No, I think that might have been a blind hit because he wasn't spotted. Pretty sure that came from the Scorpion G on the opposite position across the lake. He's decided to change position again. The armour on this vehicle is not very thin. It's comparable to the Cromwell. The highest armour is actually 63.5. That's at the front of the hull. Sides of the hull are 46 and the rear 38. Front of the turret is only 13mm, size 25, and the rear 30. So very thin armour, which means if you get spotted and the enemy fires at you, more than likely going to pen you, so you have to be careful, and the moment you do get spotted, move into cover. Now, I think he was spotted there by the tank that's closest to him, but in fact he went for the Scorpion instead. He did get spotted though again. It's the Batchat 12 ton that's causing the problem, and there he is, disappearing into the distance. Standard reload time 9.68 seconds. I think that's for the 20mm actually. You can see the standard reload that Beowulf's got is 8.02, but I think that's for the 105mm. Well, he's got his first kill, took out a Type 59G. Now that's the gold version of the Type 59, which, as you know, is the Chinese version of a Type 54. So it's kind of the tank that he would have been opposed against, but the Chinese version of that tank. Obviously a Charioteer would never have taken on a Type 59 in reality. Of course, the Type 59 was a late 50s tank, but based on the Soviet T-54, T-55s, whereas the Charioteer was a kind of late version of, well, a tank destroyer based on the Cromwell. Well, easily penetrates the side of that Centurion 5-1, who's suddenly realising, oh dear, I've just moved into a kill zone. Oh, he's so lucky though, because that shell didn't pen, and he has to pull back into cover. It appears that we've got the town, so the enemy is not threatening his rear, and just using this position to try and protect his cap area. Meanwhile, our guys are going in on the enemy cap. There are a few enemy out there that he might be able to one-shot, but I think he's interested in that Centurion. That 703 moving in over there. He might be able to encourage that Centurion to move away. He just took a hit. and just took another one. And we've got an LTTB nearby. We get a shot, dialing in, goes for the quickie. He got the spotting on it. The LTTB got taken out by our ELC-790. It was actually to the north of us. Well, north, I'd say, actually more to the east of us. Okay, we've got an MX-65 ton trying to come around lakeside. That one went straight for the centre. 358, just a low roll. Go for it again. Oh, that should have actually gone straight through the armour, because the MX-65 ton, although it's a heavy tank, that's a pretty thin armour on the sides and the rear. You can aim for the hull. Got an opposite number there, the Charioteer. You tried to fire it through the gap there. There really wasn't a gap. It's pretty difficult actually on those buildings that there's no gap. And in fact, actually, the enemy's now pushing back towards the city, which means that we're in the wrong place, because yeah, we've been the next tank that they met after they took out our heavy tank in the town. And yeah, that was the IS-6 who just met his doom at the hands of a 110. So Beowulf's decided to relocate to a better position, a better firing position, which is over in the woods, because our team managed to clear that area. We're 3 down on the enemy at the moment. We've got a T-105 on the railway line, stopping us from advancing any further to the towards the enemy cap, which is actually to the east and then north. Oh dear, we've just lost the T-54 first prototype as well to that T-103. But look at this. That's a bit of bad driving. The Scorpion just drove straight over the hill and walked straight into a shell. Now he's out the game. Here's the back chat. Yep, he's gone as well. And that's a nice kill there for Beowulf. So it's his second one. Very bad move just to drive over a ridgeline like that in full view of everyone. And another kill. It seems there's a lot of enemy tanks who are being very, very silly about how they drive straight over a ridgeline. You don't want to highlight yourself to the enemy. Not even if you're in as a trooper, you wouldn't walk over a ridgeline and present yourself as a perfect silhouette to the enemy to shoot at. No, tanks, it's even worse. They stick out like sore thumbs, and he's now paying for it. And yeah, he actually destroyed the track there, and he got the damage assist by destroying the track. So he missed out on the kill, but he actually did benefit anyway, because he tracked the guy. Now, the enemy is still closing in. They've still got that Centurion 5-1, and here comes that T-103. Now, that has got thin armour, that vehicle, apart from the front of the turret. So it's a bit odd that that shell didn't pen, but he's lost sight of him now, so he can't hit that direction. But he knows where the AMX is, and yep. That should have penned. That should have penned. It didn't. Very, very odd. And remember, that Centurion's still out there as well. Trying to go for the cupola, but no. Well, even though the Charioteer does have good speed, it's got 52 km/h speed, the Charioteer couldn't escape getting hit by an ELC-790 with its low velocity gun. And the hull of an AMX-65 is fairly porous, and yep, that one went through. Can he get the kill? But is he hiding behind a red? Well, there's the worry. There's the T-103 again. This time round it does go through that weak hull. We did get spotted though, that's the problem, because when we popped out there to pop round the corner to see him, we were close enough for the Centurion to see through the bushes. T-103 is still coming towards us, just behind that building, which is difficult to see through. There he is. Hello. Oh! Now that was bad. He actually hit the... I think that the T-103 didn't get it right, but the Beowulf did. And now he's dead. Doom circling him, or Death circling him. Unfortunately, he did take one round in the tracks from the Centurion. The problem with the T103 is it doesn't have very good turret rotation, which means that if you do circle the tank, like the KV2, it's very difficult for them to get a shot on you. I think he's now going to use his speed to try and exploit his advantage against that Centurion, all these trees, which means that he might be able to circle around and get to a position where he can take a shot at that. Oh, there's the Type 59 Gold that he killed earlier. Oh, and he's got the bush in his favour now as well. I'd take the shot because I think he is in view. Didn't get it. I cannot understand why that shell didn't touch the target. It should have hit him. Now he can do it, and he does. One into the rear, and that is the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Beowulf 19K30 in the Charioteer. He managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. Got a Duelist for taking down 2 tanks that damaged him. A Fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, one short of getting that Top Gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. And he got a Fire for effect as well for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. Whilst I was rabbiting on, he did actually get 20% of the enemy hit pool, and his high caliber came up. And I'm sure he was very pleased about that at the time, but I think he was concentrating on making sure that he got that kill on the T103 because he didn't want to lose a large amount of hit points to that 13cm gun. But he actually did, and he managed to get the kill also on that Centurion in the end as well, which gave him the match. Let's have a look at team score. Well, the highest damage in this game was 4,471. Nobody else was close to him except the Object 703 with 3,385, good 1,000 hit points below. And the third highest damage in this game was the IS-6 on the enemy, on his own team rather, who actually got 2,642. And that's the guy who died in the city because he was completely outnumbered. When it came to kills, yep, he got the highest number of those with 5. 4 kills went to the ELC 790, who was doing a fantastic job, actually getting snipe kills on enemy tanks as well, where he got the opportunity with that very, very low speed, low pressure 90mm gun. 4 kills is very good for a light tank, and he was still alive at the end of the game. In fact, he was the only other player alive at the end of the game, and I think that may have been partially down to the fact that the ELC is very difficult to see most of the time. The last one is the T103. Yeah, that guy was dangerous. He got 3 kills in that game. So, yeah, not an easy one to tangle with, but he managed to outcircle him by using his speed to actually maneuver and get round and do death circles on him, so he couldn't actually get the gun to bear. He did get 1 hit on Beowulf, but it wasn't really that bad. When it came to base XP, yep, he's got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,309 base experience points went to Beowulf. 1,284 went to the ELC 790 Willand. And the Object 703 managed 1,250. And those are the only 3 players who managed to get over 1,000. And they well into over 1,000 if you look at it. So they were the ones who were putting the most into the game. I think if we actually look, just have a quick check to see what else they managed to get. Yes, it was only Beowulf who actually managed to get the serious medals in that one. So let's have a look at detail. He fired 28 rounds of 105mm ammunition. He got 18 direct hits on the enemy and 14 penetrations. Quite a few of those shots should have actually gone straight home, but they didn't for some reason. I can only imagine that they bounced off the armor or something of that nature. 4,471 hit points of damage, of which 3,445 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see here, the vast amount of the damage was actually done at long range, not short range. So he was using it as a traditional tank destroyer and fighting from distance. 3 hits received, 1 penetration, 2 non-penetrations. He was very lucky that shells did actually hit the tracks on those 2 occasions, which actually preserved him and kept him in the game. 1 penetration where he did actually take some damage. Yes, unfortunate, not a lot he could do about that. 10 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 killed, and 1,431 hit points of damage assistance. I think some of that was spotting, some of it was actually track damage where he actually tracked the enemy and his teammates then managed to get the benefit. 38,801 credits for the game, and after repair and ammunition resupply took away 22,754 credits. And I think you can say here as well, Beowulf managed to use standard ammo for most of the game, which is why he actually did so well in getting a nice bit of profit at the end. 1,309 XP times 2 for the first victory, 3,928 experience points altogether. Let's have a look at the armor and the profile, the modules for this vehicle. Here's the armor profile for the Charioteer, which is basically a Cromwell hull with a very big turret. As you can see, Cromwell type hull, flat-sided armor, which is not very good for stopping shells, but you can see here it's basically that's the strongest armor on the vehicle at the front, which is not very encouraging. 63 millimeters with no angling at all, so no improvement on the vehicle. This angled armor here on the front actually does improve because it's 30 millimeters of impacted armor, but it actually angles up to 54. The lower plate here we can see is 25 millimeters, angles up to 54, 55. So the turret, yeah, it's not very strong. 30 millimeters at the front, right at the very front. It is angled here, only 25 millimeters coming up to 32. Any shell touching the turret is more than likely going to go through. And as you get towards the rear of the turret, it's only 20 millimeters of armor. The sides of the vehicle, well, the tracks are helping to a certain extent because they are covering a lot. But you can see at the side of the vehicle here, it's only 46 millimeters coming up to about 73. It's angled, and the sides there are only 32. Coming up to 34.8. So yes, if you hit the size of this thing, again, the shells are going to go straight through. The roof, very weak indeed, 16 millimeters. Any Arty is going to penetrate this armor. 14 millimeters at the rear. So if you see a Charioteer standing still and he's about to take a shot, try and aim for the top of him if you can, because it'll more than likely get a penetration. The rear of the vehicle is only 38.1. and it's about the same because it's very slab-sided. I'd love to show you the modules. Unfortunately, the website which actually does the modules, Armored Inspector, is actually down at the moment, so I can't show you those modules. I don't have them available, but I will try and show them to you in future videos. So thanks very much to Beowulf for sending in the replay. It was an interesting battle. It certainly was that he actually was doing most of the work with that ELC, and also his other teammate in the 703 that actually was doing most of the work. Yes, with him. Yes, because between them they really did hammer the enemy. You can see that from the fact they got 11 kills between them. Pity they couldn't platoon. Well, the ELC could have platooned with Beowulf, but he couldn't platoon with the 703 because obviously he was already in a platoon in that game. So no opportunity there. So they could have had a brothers in arms, but they didn't on this occasion. I think they were just too busy trying to win the battle. So well done. If you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.